Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at some newer Yu-Gi-Oh cards that just got announced. One of them is a completely new archetype and some Yu-Gi-Oh news on products. So let's go ahead and get started. First off with some of the newer cards. So this is all part of a newer archetype called the Vernalizer, which looks like to be a fairy archetype. Let's kick it off with one of the newer cards, which is the Vernalizer Fairy of Hills and Blooms. It's a level 4 Earth Fairy effect monster with 200 attack, 2,000 defense points. And it says you can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. The first part of the effect is you can discard this card and one other monster or one Vernalizer Fairy card to add one Vernalizer Fairy card from your deck to your hand, except for Vernalizer Fairy of the Hills and Blooms. Then you can spell summon one Earth monster from your graveyard, but you cannot activate monster effects the rest of the turn except for Earth monsters. Second part of the effect is Vernalizer Fairy monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, okay? Maybe usable as long as the boss monsters are going to be very, very powerful. I mean, being able to search out whatever you want and then special summoning, as long as the whole archetype is Earth, this is looking pretty good. Next up, though, we have the Vernalizer Fairy of Force and Awakening, which is a level 2 Earth Fairy effect monster. 900 attack, 1800 defense points. Says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. The first part of the effect is you can discard this card and one other monster or one Vernalizer Fairy card to send from your deck to the graveyard one Earth monster that can be normal summoned or set. Then you can spell one Earth monster with a different name from your graveyard, but you cannot activate monster effects the rest of the turn except for Earth monsters. Second part of the effect is you can target one Vernalizer Fairy monster you control. Its current attack becomes doubled until the end of this turn. Okay, so 900, and what was the other one? 200. Okay, so this is like irrelevant until maybe we get to the boss monsters. Next up, we have the Vernalizer Fairy of Flowers and Fields. It is a level 3 Earth Fairy effect monster, 600 attack, 1600 defense points. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. The first part of it says you can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card to add one Earth monster from your graveyard to your hand, except for Vernalizer Fairy of Flowers and Fields. Then you can spell summon one Earth monster from your graveyard, but you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except for Earth monsters. Let's use summon so much this turn. Okay, and then the second part of the effect is your opponent cannot target Vernalizer Fairy monster you control with card effects. So they can't be destroyed by card effects, and you're going to double their attack, but it doesn't matter yet until we get some of the more powerful monsters. All right, this card's at least 1100 attack. So this is Vernalizer Fairy of Mountains and Melting Snow. It is a Earth Fairy at level 3, 1100 attack, 0 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. The first part of the effect is you can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card to draw one card. Then you can spell one Earth monster from your graveyard, but you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except for Earth monsters. Second part is you can target one Vertizer Fairy monster you control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. Okay, so maybe we're gonna get some really small monster, beef it up to have double attack, and then they can actually attack twice too. Next up, we have Flower Crown of the Vernalizer Fairy. It's a continuous spell. Earth monsters you control are treated as Vernalizer Fairy monsters. Oh, this now it's getting a lot more interesting. Second part is once per turn, if a Vernalizer Fairy monster in your hand would discard itself and one other card to activate its effect, you can make it only discard itself instead. Okay, now we're looking like it's going to be a lot more powerful. This is going to be crazy that everything you control, but it's all Earth monsters you control. Maybe if you have DNA, what is it, surgery or transplant, make everything count that and as Earth, so then you can start activating all of your effects too, right? That would be very interesting. I'm not sure if that would work with that though. Like if it says like you can only, where is it? You can't activate monsters effects. Someone let me know in the comments below. Can you use DNA surgery or transplant, make everything Earth, and then would this work, or is it like, you know, Debris Dragon where like no matter what it just like can't be used as like synchro material even if you skill drain and negate the effect? It just like doesn't work. Next up though, let's go and check out the other support. So we have calendar rotation of the Vernalizer Fairy. Normal trap card, you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. The first part of it says target one Vernalizer Fairy monster in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it. Second part is during your opponent's turn, if you have no cards in your hand except during the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon as many Vernalizer Fairy monsters with different names as possible from your graveyard, but return them to the hand during the end phase. Obviously, you're going to exceed synchro, link, whatever, with the monsters, so this part of the effect probably doesn't matter too much. But remember, it does have to be during your opponent's turn and you have to have no cards in your hand. I'm thinking that obviously, yes, you know, you want to like synchro link. You're gonna have to probably make something beforehand so it, you know, it doesn't have this negative effect, but obviously that's what you want to try to do. Next up though, we have Vernalizer Fairy and Flower Buds, which is a normal trap card that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. The first part of it says target face-up card your opponent controls up to the number of Earth monsters special summon from the graveyard with different names. Return Earth monsters you control to the hand equal to the number of targets, and if you do, return those targets to the hand. Okay, so you get to bounce back a bunch of cards because you special summon pretty much any of the Earths. And then what's interesting is that they do count as it with this. Now this archetype, I don't want to sign it out as like this deck isn't ready yet. I'm pretty sure someone's going to figure out how to make this pretty insane, because considering you can make the things attack twice, double the attack, there's probably going to be some ways to OTK with it. And then on top of that, remember, you're going to have all these bonus effects of like your opponent can't target them, they can't be destroyed by effects. And remember, all the monsters you control become those monsters. So now you have like immunity to a lot of different archetypes. It's looking interesting for sure. Next up, this is a Vjump promo. This is Loris, Lady of Lament. Here is the artwork. She's looking pretty cool over here. Level 3 Dark Fiend effect monster, 1500 attack, 500 defense points, and it says you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. First part of it says you can target 3 or 6 of your normal traps that are banished and or in your graveyard. Place them on the bottom of the deck in any order, then draw 1 card for every 3 cards placed. So basically you can potentially draw 2, and then the other part of the effect is if another monsters is tributed or normal traps in your possession is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 normal trap in your graveyard and set it on your field. Pretty decent card for archetypes that like to play heavy in the trap. It's like the other like Lady of Lament. Pretty decent, I would say, for slower paced decks, but there are also other decks that use what is it, it lets you tribute like your opponents. I think it's a Layer of Darkness. I haven't seen that play in a long time, but that's because, you know, pretty much is covering Master Duel content. But hopefully we'll get some more new Yu-Gi-Oh cards very soon. But that's not it for the news. We still have another bit of news. This is for Speed Duel GX Duel Academy box delays in the Americas. So basically stuff I guess was lost at sea for a little bit. So due to logistic issues, so they've encountered some delays for Speed Duel GX Duel Academy box. The containers have been stuck at port since February, so they're stuck at sea, and they're going to be having a new release date for this. This is going to be on the date of April 1st in North America, and North and Latin America, so obviously that's going to be just delayed a little bit. But guys, let me know what you think of this new archetype. Again, I think it's more interesting to probably splash in rather than just making a pure archetype, because again, the monster's doubling the attack. It's like it doesn't matter. The stats really don't have enough to make him viable. But anyways, that's going to be it for the new Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on the bell so you don't miss out when we cover. Hopefully this archetype will get some more cards later down the line, and we will be covering it. So subscribe, turn on the bell, and you'll see it when it does come out. And I'll catch you guys next video. I'm out. Peace.